Hey gang, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. I am still recording in the North Maine woods. I'll be gone by the time you see this one though, because it won't be up for a few days. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to do that. But I've got a big shout out today because I just got my very first channel member. So I want to say an extra special thank you to Barb, who signed up today as my very first channel member. And if you haven't already met Barb, I'm going to put a link in the video down below and up here someplace to a video that we did together about map usage, and we also have done a tour and interview of her camper. So I'll link both of those videos here for you so you can check those out. And Barb, thank you so much. So if you're wondering what a channel member is, there are two different levels at which you can join, and you get different perks at different levels. So why do it? Well, it really helps me by providing some additional income in addition to what I'm getting from the ad revenue. And don't think I don't get it all. I mean, YouTube takes a fairly significant portion of it for themselves. Rightfully so, it's their platform, all that good stuff. But it's also, more importantly than the money itself, it's a way to build community. And I know that's important to so many people that are missing out on some community in their lives. So, yeah, if that's you, consider becoming a member. I'd love to have you become part of the tribe on that basis, as well as just watching the videos. And watching the videos is great. That really helps a lot, and hopefully it helps you. As always, leave a comment down below, give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already. We're going to roll the intro and get right into today's topic, which is back on BLM land. LTVA, long-term visitor pass, or 14-day. Which is better? Which is cheaper? We'll be right back with that. Okay, well, let's start with a little bit of background first, just in case you don't know about the LTVAs. So first of all, what's LTVA stand for? It stands for long-term visitor areas. And I've had several videos that I've done really in the past week and a half or so about this subject. And I think I'm going to probably start a playlist to put all of these together so they'll be easy to find. So LTVAs are located on BLM land in Arizona and California. Those are the only two places that they occur. And currently, through 2024, all of the LTVAs share a single pass. And I'm saying through 2024 because the videos that I've done previously talk about the proposed fee changes regarding the LTVA areas so that they would segregate the areas around Quartzsite, Arizona, and the one that's near Yuma. It's called Imperial Dam. It's actually in California. But those two LTVAs would be served under one pass, and the other LTVAs in California would be served under a separate pass. At least so far, the separate pass for the California sites looks like it will remain the same in 2025. The LTVA pass for just the two areas in Quartzsite and Imperial Dam will go up from 180 to $600 for the 7 months season if the proposed fee increase goes through. So, link to those videos as well. So, if you want to learn more about this, you certainly can. But why stay at LTVAs? There are a couple of different reasons that people will stay at LTVAs. And I think one of the biggest ones may just be camaraderie. It's the opportunity to meet up with old friends and meet new friends. And for a lot of people, being able to have that time to spend in the desert, basically in the same area with people that you haven't seen for a while, and as I said, meet new people, it helps you to develop a sense of community. And that's really important, especially in the nomad community, because so much of the time many of us off by ourselves and, uh, you know, not hanging out with other people all that much. It's certainly true for me. The other reason that people like to stay at LTVAs are for the amenities. And I use the term a little bit loosely because if you've been to the LTVAs, and at least the ones around Quartzite, the quality of the water is, not awesome. It's potable, don't get me wrong. It's not going to hurt you to drink it, but it is, very salty, minerally. So you get water. There is a dump station available, and there is trash service where you can take your trash to a dumpster. So those are the three basic amenities in the LTVA areas. And just to be clear, that's true for both Quartzsite and for Yuma, for Imperial Dam. The other LTVAs around California, some of them have all of the amenities, some of them don't. So there's a whole chart that says what amenities are available at which of the locations. Because like not everyone has a dump station, not everyone has water available. So important to know that. But if you want to go to Quartzsite, do you need to stay at an LTVA and pay the long-term visitor area fee? Currently $180, potentially as much as $600 for the 2025 season. And the answer to that is no, you do not. And so y'all know how much I love math. So I sat down and I did a little bit of math around this to figure out, just from a financial perspective, if for me it really makes sense to buy an LTVA pass or if it makes more sense not to. So I'm going to share the math with you. And basically what it comes down to in the LTVA is it's a 212-day season. So from September 15th until April 15th. Now for me, I can last 3 weeks pretty easily without having to dump my black tank, but the determining factor is always my fresh water, and I really can only get about 2 weeks out of my freshwater tank. And for those of you that are wondering what that means in reality, so my black tank is, I gotta think about this now. It's either 29 or 32 gallons, and my freshwater tank is 46 gallons. You don't get the full 46 gallons though, because the spigot basically that sucks it out into the water pump is not, it can't be at the very floor of the tank. So you lose a couple of gallons of use just because of that. So what that means for me is if I'm only going to last 2 weeks on my freshwater tank, I'm basically going to be moving every 2 weeks. And because of the way that I'm doing the math, that means I'm going to be dumping my black tank every 2 weeks as well, and my gray tank, just because it makes more sense to do that. So here comes the math. Are you ready? 212 days for the entire season divided by 14 days, which is two important factors there. One is I can go 14 days without needing fresh water, and the other one is with the BLM dispersed camping rules, you have to move every 14 days. And we're going to come back and talk about the dispersed camping rules and why this actually works. So 212 days in the entire season divided by 14 days gives me a total of 15 dump and fill sessions. And the average cost is $15 to dump and refill water. Yep, I'm going to tell you how to do it. How do you do this for 15 bucks? How do I do this for 15 bucks? Because it might actually cost more for you. You'll need to do your own math. This is my math we're talking about. And the deal is that there are two different locations in Quartzite that make this really pretty seamless to do. So if your goal is that you're moving around the Quartzite, super simple. One is called RV Pit Stop. They've been around forever. The other is newer. It's called RV Relief. And I'm going to give you numbers for RV Relief because I could find those published either on their website or Facebook, can't remember which. But if your rig is less than 29 feet, which mine is, then they have a fee for dumping, they have a fee for filling water, and if you do both, it's a discounted fee. So the discounted fee for doing both is $15 for my rig, okay? If you're over 29 feet, it's going to be a few dollars more. You can go check out their post and figure out exactly what it's going to be for you, or I'll see if I can find a chart and add that in for you. The prices at RV Pit Stop are very similar. So, I mean, this is what my numbers are based on. If you are camping on 14-day BLM land like down around Yuma, well, There's a great free dump station in Yuma. I'm not going to tell you where it is right now. And I never really have difficulty getting water. So, not that big a deal. All right. So let's get back to the math. So $15 times 15 sessions is $225. Now you say, but wait, that's more than the current pass at $180 a year. Yep, it is, but way less than the proposed $600 pass. And let's back up. I said this is 212 days for the entire season, all 7 months from September 15th until April 15th. Now, like most people, I don't want to be there all that time. It's too hot to be there in September, and it's getting too hot to be there, early mid-March. So let's recalculate this based on arriving November 1st and leaving March 7th. That's 126 days. So now we're going to take our 126 days, divide that by 14 days, which is how often I would need to dump and refill my tanks. And now we only have 9 dump and refill sessions. 9 sessions at $15 a session is $135, which is way less expensive than the current $180 for the LTVA pass. All right, so I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, what about the short-term LTVA pass that only costs $40 for every 2 weeks? Wouldn't that be cheaper? Well, the answer is no, it wouldn't, and here's why. So if you take your 126 days looking at the shorter period season that we're talking about staying, and now, what do I not get out of that? By paying for dumping and filling my water, I'm going to lose 2 things. One of them is I'm going to lose the camaraderie of hanging out with all the people that are hanging out at the LTVA. But the other thing is that, there's no trash service available in those fees. So I still have to deal with trash. You divide that by 14 days. As we know, you get 9 dump and fill sessions that you need to have. Now, if you're buying the 2-week pass every 2 weeks for that period of time, you're going to be spending $280 on that pass. So let's talk about trash. First of all, conserve trash. Burn whatever you can, you know, and minimize packaged foods to begin with. One of the things I do is I get rid of as much packaging as I possibly can before I leave the place that I purchased. There's usually a trash can outside, and I don't feel at all bad about putting all the extra packages, boxes, and, overwrap containers and all that stuff in the trash can of the place where I just purchased this stuff. And speaking of purchases, I will also drop a small bag, think, where you can get plastic grocery store bags for free, that size bag, I will drop it at a location where I am patronizing them. So think about gas stations, grocery stores, that kind of thing. I don't have a problem with dropping a bag there. And for me, I can get away with, not creating very much trash anyway. So like a small bag like that might be a week's worth of trash for me. The other thing I do to minimize the impact of trash, because I am saving it so long, and it's mostly going to be food garbage, I store certain things in gallon-sized Ziploc bags. So whenever I empty a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, I save it. And then I put my potentially stinky food garbage into the gallon-sized Ziploc bag and just keep it zipped up. And then I don't have any issues with food garbage smelling or any of that kind of stuff. All right, so how can you do this and meet the BLM rules, right? Because I think it's really important to remain cognizant of the rules and follow the rules. Do not be a scofflaw. Don't get our public lands taken away from us. Please, please, please. So here we're talking about dispersed camping in undeveloped areas, okay? And there are several things to keep in mind when you are on BLM land. And just in case you don't know what BLM stands for, it's Bureau of Land Management. It's run by the federal government. So whether you're in a developed campground or at a dispersed site, you may usually camp in an area for up to 14 days before having to move at least 25 miles from your original spot. And you may not return to that area for 28 consecutive days. I want to talk about that 25-mile thing, because I've done a whole bunch of research trying to figure out exactly what 25 miles means, and I can't find a definitive answer. But I know a couple of things about what goes on BLM land, having, spent a fair amount of time there. So is the 25 miles a 25-mile radius or diameter from your current location? Is it which would be as the crow flies, or is it road miles from one location to the next? I think road location is probably a reasonable measurement, because you can't get from one place to another just by off-roading. Most of us can't, at least. So I'm going with 25 road miles. 25 miles from this location. And I'll give you an example. One of the popular areas around um, Quartzsite is up at Plumosa Road. So you could go from Plumosa Road further south to another BLM 14-day area that's 25 miles away. And you'd still have Quartzsite at the center of your area. So if you wanted to hang out with people, if you wanted to go meet up with friends that are staying on the LTVAs, you could still do that. Within the rules, you still need to choose sites that are already established when it's possible to do that. Camp at least 200 feet away from water sources. Whenever possible, use existing fire rings or use a camp stove. Always check current fire conditions. And here's a biggie, guys. And in fact, in the North Maine woods, I've got this going on as well. Dispose of human waste properly. You need to be that minimum 200 feet away from water, and it needs to be in a 6-inch or deeper hole. So that doesn't mean dig a hole 6 inches down and then put 4 inches of dirt back on top of it. It means 6 inches of dirt on top of whatever you put in the hole. And if you're not going to be packing out your toilet paper, then make sure that that is completely buried. Please don't leave your toilet paper laying around on top of the ground for me to find. Don't leave your poop on top of the ground for me to find. It's, inappropriate. And of course, the BLM also asks that you follow a policy of treading lightly by picking up litter, avoiding travel that could damage the land, observing signs in posted areas, leaving all gates as you found them. This is an important point, guys, because there are leaseholds on a lot of our public land, and those people are allowed to put up gates for certain purposes. So if you come to a gate and it's open, you go through the gate and leave it open. If you come to a gate that is closed, you go through, you get out, open the gate, drive through the gate, and then go back and close the gate. Leave it the way you found it. And when you're crossing private lands, make sure you have permission to do that. By doing this stuff, you enhance everybody's opportunity to enjoy public lands in the future. So keep in mind that this is a pretty important subject to really make sure that we are minimizing the impact that we have on the areas that we're using. So, do you need an LTVA pass? Maybe you don't. Do you need to treat the land respectfully? Absolutely, positively, yes. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this subject. Would you not get an LTVA pass and move every 2 weeks instead? And what's important about having an LTVA pass or not for you? For those of you especially that are spending time in the desert, in Arizona, in the winter. All right. As always, thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment. We'll talk soon. Hey, consider becoming a channel member if that's something that appeals to you. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you next time.